If you're in the market for a new car, landing one can be incredibly difficult, but it's not impossible. Hi everybody, it's Josh for JD's Auto Detailing. If you've tried buying a car right now, you know it's a nightmare. It's a seller's market, so having a few tips and tricks up your sleeve will really go a long way. But before we get started, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe this video. If you guys have any idea about how the car market is right now and the shortage that's going on, landing one can be so difficult. So today what I'm going to talk about is how I landed my 2022 Toyota Tacoma that's forthcoming in about a few weeks. When you're looking at a timeline from buying a new car, from the moment that you consider buying one to actually landing one and taking delivery, this can be a drawn out process. Originally, when you go into a dealership, you have all the power, meaning like you can walk into a dealership, you can pick the one that's waiting for you on the lot and drive home that day. That is not how it is anymore. So you really are gonna have to try to plan out the timeline of when you're gonna try to look for one and get one. If you can't afford to wait at least 2 to 3 months, this process is just not gonna work for you, you know what I mean? Average wait times for a new wreck car is about 3 to 5 months. So if your back's up against the wall and you're looking for a new car and you need one today, this is probably not the right time to buy one. You're probably gonna want to look into the used car market. However, if you're able to wait that 3 to 5 months, yes, for sure, buy a used car. That's gonna be great for you. So in our case, we were actually able to start our search in beginning of March and we actually ended it in mid-April. That being said, we were really diligent in our search and I knew exactly what I wanted to get and exactly the configuration. And so those things did actually help us in the long run between getting our car and waiting an extra time. Let's say you are trying to find a really specific car or model or make, and especially in a specific color, you also need to consider this because that may end up adding a couple weeks or months to your search. In my case, I wanted a army green Toyota Tacoma, and so they don't release a lot of army greens. They have some, but they don't release a lot. It's not like white or black. So dealerships only get a certain amount of those per month, and so we actually had to be really diligent in trying to find that specific configuration of what I wanted. It is crucial to be prepared when going into the dealership. Do not go to the dealership and try to window shop and take your time on the lot, because honestly, salespeople do not have the time for you right now. Salespeople barely have time to get cars that are coming in on the trucks to the next customer and go that way. So they don't have time to really, walk with you and do window shopping. And, you may kick the tires on this car. You may want to drive it. And honestly, most dealerships don't even have cars for you to test drive. This will also help you in the long run because you are spending a lot of money on a new car and you want to make sure you know exactly what you want in the exact configuration, and you don't want to really go beat around the bush or settle with a car that you may not be happy with. My biggest piece of advice is go on the dealership website, whether you're looking at Toyota, Ford, whatever car manufacturer you are, and build your car out. Know exactly what configuration, know exactly what car you want, build different models, compare packages, try out different colors, know if there's a specific chrome package or blackout package or whatever you want. Make sure that you know what you want prior to going to the dealership. So when you go, you know exactly what to communicate to your salesperson. A plus to building these different vehicles online is knowing how to tailor these things to your budget. If you know exactly ballpark range about what you're expected to spend at the dealership, you're going to go in with better expectations about how to work and tell your salesperson what you're comfortable with buying your car. So now that you know exactly what you want, it's time to start reaching out to different dealerships in your area. Now, I'm not saying reach out to dealerships 3 hours away, because that's not going to bode well for you when you're trying to get your new car. But call around, with dealerships within your direct vicinity. I would say no more than 30 to 50 miles, just so you can establish different relationships with those specific dealerships so that they're willing to work with you. Tell them what car you want, tell them what style, what configuration, what package that you want, and ask to be put on a wait list so that you can actually have a chance at landing your new car. The more dealerships that you call, the more likely that they're actually going to be able to call you back. And that's a good way to not put all your eggs in one basket. So finally, it's time to actually go in person to the dealership. Now take note, if you are going to go to a dealership, you need to make sure that the dealerships right now are currently marking up their cars and they're not selling them for MSRP. So that's where the ball is not in your court, it's actually in their court. So if you're able to find a dealership, and there are some out there that are selling cars for MSRP, try to go to those. Go to those first and see if they're willing to work with you on a deal. But if not, it is what it is, and that might be something to consider when looking at the final price of your vehicle. Be aware of that pushy salesman. When we went to the dealership, we were connected with a salesman that honestly didn't really give us the time of day. He disregarded what we wanted in terms of what we were looking for in specific year, make, and model. And honestly, he was actually pushing cars that were on the lot currently, and he was looking for a quick sale. We left that meeting really discouraged and unsatisfied. He took my number and I never heard from him again, never called me, never followed up. Now, on the other hand, a couple days later, we actually went back to that same exact dealership and connected with a different salesman. Now, this experience with this specific salesman was completely different, 180 degrees difference. This specific salesman heard us, he listened to us. He wasn't looking for a quick sale that day. He really wanted to help us get into the right car that we wanted. He actually showed us his personal car, which is really similar to the one I wanted, so I can get a better grasp on how it would look with that specific configuration. So overall, the salesperson can really make or break your deal when you're trying to buy a new car. Keep in mind, when you're working with a specific salesman, 20 other customers are also working with their own salesman, and they're all competing for that same vehicle that you are. So it's incredibly important to make sure that your salesman is diligent in maintaining contact with you so that you are able to get that car on your dime. And if you're able to connect with a salesman that's great as ours, you're gonna be first in line for that new car. So now's the waiting game. So now that you've connected with different dealerships and you've made a relationship with your salespeople from all around the area, now it's time to follow up with them. I recommend reaching out to the dealerships at least once or twice a week. Make sure to maintain that communication with your salespeople. They may even be calling you. I know it's a lot on your part, but if you're able to make sure that you maintain that communication with them, it's going to show them that, number one, that you are serious about the car deal, and two, it'll keep you on their radar. Your dealerships that you've been in contact with may call you and say, hey, we have a different configuration of this specific model. If you've been flexible from the beginning, that's great. That may work for you, but if not, don't settle on something that may come in. You've spent a lot of money on this new vehicle that you're trying to purchase. And so if you want to keep this vehicle for a long time, make sure that you're getting the one that you want. You don't want to settle, get a vehicle that you didn't originally want, and then have regret in 3 months later. Now, for example, 2 months has passed. A salesman has contacted you and says that your dream car is now available and it's coming in on the next allocation. Do not snooze on this. You need to act as soon as you possibly can. It's first come, first serve at most dealerships when it comes to new cars coming in because, guys, like I said before, the salespeople and the dealerships have all the power right now. So if you're gonna act late, they're gonna give the car to the next person in line. So you have to act fast and you have to make sure to get down to the dealership and put a deposit on that vehicle. In my case, my dealership that I was working with only accepted in-person deposits, meaning I had to leave my job, go down to the dealership the same day and put a deposit on the vehicle. Not all dealerships are like this, but the one that I was working with was. And so you need to be really diligent in making sure that if they do require this, to make sure that you act on it. It's important to know that you're going to be required to put a monetary deposit down on the car. In my case, it was a $1,000 deposit. The deposit was refundable, and it's going to also be used towards the eventual down payment in the buying process of the car. At the time of the deposit, it's time to figure out financing. At this time, you'll be sitting down with your salesperson. Figuring out financing for your vehicle consists of a few different points. One, your credit is going to be pulled, and the dealership is going to see if you're going to be a credible borrower. Two, you're going to be given a range of different interest rate options. Three, you're going to go over a different range of monthly payments based on the amount down that you're going to put towards your new vehicle. In this climate, interest rates are changing on a month-to-month basis. So when we asked our salesperson to go over financing options, he gave us actually our worst case scenario so that we could determine what our monthly payment would be on the worst case basis. Financing is not set in stone until the day of pickup. So you're actually able to increase or decrease that amount that you're putting down to adjust those payments if you need to. Just keep note of that because it might play in your favor later. Congratulations. So now all you have to do is sit back and wait. Your vehicle will be built. Your salesperson will be in contact with you. Ours actually gave us updates every week saying, hey, it's expected to be built on this day. And he actually just texted me the other day saying, hey, your actual vehicle is a bit ready to be built, and it was built. And so now we're just in the waiting game for it to be delivered to the dealership. You should be expecting from the time that you finance the car to the time that it's built about a month, and then another month for delivery. However, those times can fluctuate and there's really nothing you can do about it. So you really just have to be patient and wait if there is a different fluctuation in those times. All right, guys, I really hope that this is going to help you through your car buying process. And be expecting a vlog about when I actually take delivery of my Toyota Tacoma. I'm incredibly excited to share that with you guys. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. Like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I post a new video. And until then, get outside and do some detailing. Bye, guys. First impressions vlog of when I go and pick up. Look at it. Do we need to tape my stuff to the chair? Okay.
Wait, do this.
What is this?
I don't know.
God dang it. Tip of the tongue, teeth in the lips.